Hello, welcome back to the Real World Garage. Today we're back again with my wife's 2015 RAV4. We're going to discuss batteries. We're going to go over voltage loss, and what it can mean and what you need to do about it. Come along. Okay, so what you have with a fully charged battery that is at rest and hasn't been charged with the alternator or with a battery charger, once it has come back and settled, your settled voltage should be around 12.6, and it can vary a little bit. So I want to show you what this battery voltage is. This vehicle my wife drove to the grocery store earlier today and came home, and the vehicle's been closed up and just sitting here. So the battery voltage should be 12.6. See if I can do this. There we go. But I have a 12.4849 voltage. Now voltage that low, that means it is 70-80% charged possibly. Or it means that the battery itself is going bad. And seeing as how this is the battery that came with the vehicle, I'm going to go with that it's probably getting weak, and you should either take it in and get it tested, or if you know it's 3-4 years old and you have this condition, that you know that the battery's bad. So I'm going to set up. I have bought a new battery. I'm going to set up, and I want to show you the voltage of the battery right off the shelf. So let me get set up and I'll show you that. Okay, this is the new battery I bought. I went and got a Value EverStart, and I'll talk about those in just a few minutes. But let's take a look at the meter. Are we going to be able to see this meter on camera? Let's take a look and see, make sure that they can see that. Okay, it's 12.68 volts. This is a brand new battery right off the shelf. I looked at the manufacturer date, which is a J9, and that is A is January, B is February, C is March, and that's how you count them off. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, so this battery, it was made October 2019, and it's also got the check sticker of 1019. So this is a brand new battery. Okay. I want to go in and talk to you a little bit about why changing your battery possibly before you're having to jump start it and before it is technically bad. What's happening is when you have a battery that is at 12.49 volts, yes, it will crank the vehicle. Yes, it will get you where you want to go. But what you have to keep in mind is the alternator is having to compensate, and it makes the alternator charge harder. It generates more heat and shortens the life of your alternator. The other side of that is your starter. Okay, the starter, when you have a battery that is not at full capacity, and it actually makes the starter engage slightly slower, so that the contacts inside the solenoid have an opportunity to burn as they're coming together, rather than them coming together quickly. The electromagnet doesn't pull in as fast, so it lets the contacts burn. This is my wife's vehicle, and she trusts it to get back and forth to work daily. I do have a jump box in the back, just for in case of an emergency if something got left on and the battery died, but I prefer her not to have to use that, because I don't need to get that phone call, if you know what I mean. So we're probably just going to give this old battery to my son and let him figure it out. Just making a joke there about my son, but I want you to understand why this older battery with a lower voltage would work in an older car and be able to last for a little while. What you have to keep in mind is all the computers that these modern vehicles come with today. Some vehicles have up to 10-15 computers on board to control all the different aspects of the automobile. So you really need to make sure that your battery is up to par to handle the job. The other thing is you need to keep in mind is that your the computer, the ECM, actually regulates the voltage in the alternator. So when the load is less, it doesn't charge as much. They do that in an effort to maximize fuel economy because it puts less load on the engine when the alternator has less load. So they do several different things like that to increase fuel economy. All right, now we're going to talk about battery brands. I have started using the Value Power, and now they've changed it to Value Everstart brand batteries from Walmart. Where I work, we use Interstate batteries, and to be honest, I have found them to not be any more reliable than any other manufacturer out there. I know some people are going to say, I've got to have a so-and-so battery, and that's what they're going to stick with no matter what. But I'm going to explain something. You can buy this battery at Walmart for $49.99, or you can buy the one right next to it, same group size, same kind of battery, and they can want anywhere, depending on how much the warranty you're buying with that battery. That battery can go $89, $99, $129. I've seen them up as high as $149. What you're basically buying when you buy the more expensive battery is you're paying for that battery in advance. You're buying a warranty. This battery will probably last 3 years and probably won't give me any trouble. But for $50, I am willing to take that chance, even in my wife's vehicle, because I have found that these batteries are just as reliable. If you look at the name on the tag, the manufacturer, they are produced by Johnson Controls Battery Company. Johnson Controls has been in the business of making electronics and making batteries for probably 50 years, or maybe even longer. But Johnson Controls makes a quality product. I don't know that there's any difference between this $50 battery and that $150 battery that's on the shelf at Walmart. To be perfectly honest, they're probably very close to the same, and you're going to get the same life out of it. So I want to give a shout out to Doing It Cheap. And how you doing, Paw? He was the inspiration for this video. I made a comment on something that he had done the other day, and we discussed batteries, so I thought maybe I would do a battery video. Y'all go over and check out Doing It Cheap. He's a lot of fun, has a lot of good videos, and I think y'all enjoy him. So we're going to swap this battery out. Y'all come along. Okay, got the battery swapped out. Just one thing we do down where I work, we take and actually scratch the date in the battery. It helps you remember when you put this battery in. The other thing to do, it's a good idea, if you get you a Ziploc bag, keep in your glove box, and anything you buy for your automobile, if you'll just, when you get done, just throw it in that Ziploc bag and keep it in the glove box. That way you can prove the date that you bought this battery, so if you do have a warranty problem, you can whip out the receipt and they won't give you a hard time. But I also like to take and just lightly scratch. I use a bottle opener on my phone, use a bottle opener on my Leatherman, and just gently in the very surface, write today's date. What is today's date? Just say it, son. You're
October 19th.
Thank you. He's behind the camera trying to be quiet. But just lightly scratch it in the battery. That way you will remember when you purchased your battery and when it got installed. Okay, now there's something else that I learned today, and I learned it from my dad, who's an old school mechanic, who'll be guest on the next episode where we discuss a brake booster on a Ford, but that's next episode. But he talked with me and asked me, did I know if I needed to have this, if I disconnected this battery, if the vehicle would have to be reprogrammed? And I looked at him with a strange look on my face. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, there are vehicles, and this is the first, and I've been doing this for a long time, there are vehicles now that if you swap the battery out of them, you actually have to return them to the dealer to get your functions back. Remember where I talked about all the computers that are on the vehicle? Well, you have to actually go back in and reset the parameters for such things that the body control module will handle, like window operation, radio operation, moonroof operation. So I got in my owner's manual and I looked. There is one special procedure that they call for on the 2015 RAV4, and that is how to reset the moonroof so that it will open. It also went in and discussed whether or not the vehicle had a smart key or not. If it was a non-smart key vehicle or if it was a smart key vehicle, there were some different procedures. So I would seriously suggest on any modern vehicle that you swap the battery out, or think you're going to need to swap the battery out in, that you might want to consider opening your owner's manual and looking and seeing what it says about battery replacement before you just start tearing into it. My dad was relating a story to me that some folks had a battery changed on a vehicle, and they carried it to a local independent shop and asked him could he do it, and then we did a little research and he was like, you know, you need to take it back to the dealer. They took it back to the dealer replaced the battery, parked it outside, and when the owner came to pick the vehicle up, windows wouldn't roll down, and there were several other things, accessories in the vehicle that wouldn't work. So they went back inside and they discussed it with the dealer. The dealer didn't even know that they needed to go in and reset the parameters. So make sure that that's not a problem with your vehicle. And if you do have a battery swapped out, make sure you lower and raise your windows, and make sure all your accessories work inside your vehicle. So that's a new one on me, and like I said, I've been doing this a good long time. So let me reset the camera and I'll show you what the reset procedure is on the moonroof on the 2015 RAV4. Okay, the owner's manual says when the battery is disconnected, the moonroof does not close normally. The moonroof must be initialized in order to ensure proper operation. Turn the ignition key to the on position, or if you have a smart key, the ignition to the on mode. And that's for vehicles with a smart key system. We have a standard key system. It says press and hold the close or up switch until the following movement finishes. The moonroof will tilt up and pause for 1 second or more. Then it will tilt down, open, and close fully. And it says release the switch and then press it in order to ensure. Press it again in order to ensure proper operation. That's easy for me to say. It says if the moonroof does not move automatically, perform the procedure again. So I'm to turn the key on and press and hold the close or up switch. So we have that right up here. Let's try it and see. Alright, we'll give everything a chance to load. Yep, let's see, look right there. See, all that is reinitializing and loading. That's interesting. I hope all that comes back or Mama's going to be upset with me. Let's see how long that takes to load. I also noticed that none of my air conditioner controls seem to be on. Okay, that's what it normally does. Alright, continue. Alright. We're missing some features on there, aren't we? By the auxiliary and these others. Alright, but we're going to start with the moonroof. Let's go. Let's see. Is it working? Press and hold. And it said hold until it does its thing. Let me see if it just...
This is embarrassing.
Slightly. But it's the first time we've ever done it, so it closes. Alright, let's see if it opens. If it doesn't close, I'll just glue a piece of plastic up there and we'll keep going.
It's working. Okay.
Okay, now let's see if it... Oh, yep, got all our radio channels. Alright, let's see if it'll crank. the things, turn that annoying beep off. One of the things it also says in the owner's manual that possibly could happen when you first fire the car back up, when you first turn the key to start, it may not start the first time. Mine did, but it's possible that when you turn to start, it won't start the first time, and you just turn the key off, turn it back on, and it will start. And that is a normal operation. So it looks like we're done. I would like to go out here and we're going to check the battery voltage under charge with the alternator running and the high beams on and the air conditioner fan on high. So let's get set up and do that. Okay, we've got it running. We have the high beams on. We have the fan running on high. So that'll help load the alternator and give you an idea of what its output is. It is actually 13.91. And as I said earlier, the computer actually monitors the voltage, and as load is necessary, as load increases, and it will increase the voltage as necessary to maintain your battery. So, okay guys, we're fixing to wrap this little video up. Hope it wasn't too long, hope you weren't too bored, but I wanted to cover one more last thing about a battery and what a lot of mistakes people make. A battery is technically a storage device, and your charging system on your car is to maintain that battery. It compensates for all the loads. When you turn on headlights or you run something inside, you hook your phones up and you're charging your phones, you're running your air conditioner, it continually raises in voltage to keep the battery maintained. Okay, so with that said, what I need you to understand is if you ever have a battery that is low charge because something got left on and you jump start that vehicle, remember what I said earlier about how the alternator works extra hard to charge that battery? An alternator will not bring a battery back to its full potential. If you're broke down, you're on the side of the road, or you're in a parking lot somewhere and you get jump started, when you get the first opportunity to get that vehicle home, you need to put a real battery charger back on that battery and charge it overnight to bring the potential back up in that battery, because you're going to be working your alternator to death. You would have to drive for probably 6, 8, 10 hours before your alternator would fully recharge that battery, and in the meantime it's going to be working your alternator to death. So with all that said, y'all take care.